Book 101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. One of her advocacy, living life to its fullest for financial, spiritual, emotional, and physical health, none other than Dr. Dorothy Martin-Neville. Welcome, Dr. Dorothy, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Well, there's so much. I've been around a long while. I'm Dr. Dorothy Martin-Neville, and am a licensed psychologist here in the United States. And I also work as a leadership coach, supporting leaders who have had great success. Remember who it is that got lost along the way. So many leaders are so busy focusing on success and upon making it whatever that means to them that they lose touch with who they really are. So they may be making 10 million, 20 million a year, but there's a huge emptiness inside that they try to fill in numerous ways, whether it's through affairs, through drugs, through alcohol, through overworking. And it never fills that emptiness that they're feeling inside. I help them recognize what that's about, how to deal with it, and how to fill it so that the life becomes far more enjoyable and life giving than just an exhausting burden that they're carrying on their shoulders.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Dr. Dorothy. Yeah, thank you. And today, let's talk about leadership as a spiritual calling. When we say leadership as a calling, it implies a voice that summons one to serve. When do you first hear that call, and how did you distinguish it from a mere ambition or career choice?
Well, I would say I got my first calling of that when I was 6 years old. That I had a realization living in the ghetto, living in the housing projects, that there was so much more to life than we were conditioned to believe, and I wanted to help those that were suffering in very low income areas to understand that there are other options in life that they could move. And I had no idea how I was going to do that as an adult, but I knew that as an adult, I wanted to do that. And over the course of my career, I ended up in social work initially as a Catholic nun in Quebec, and then in Maine within the US, and then as a psychologist, and then as a coach. So it all was, all each one led took my skills to the deeper level, to a newer and newer level, so that eventually I was working with folks who really had great success and yet were lost in the midst of that process.
Dr. Dorothy, how do you reconcile the often ego driven necessities of leadership like confidence and vision with the humility and self surrender typically required of a spiritual path?
There's a big difference that ego, in the sense that we need to have the ability to claim the I am. That I am
Hmm.
is a very spiritual acknowledgement. That I am is I am fully aware of who I am apart from the life I have created. If you can envision sitting in a chair in this embodied soul, this embodied essence, whatever your faith system is, that this being is sitting in the chair. And over there on the other side of the room is the life I've created. Is all of the boyfriends and girlfriends I've had, all the homes I've lived in, all the friends I've had, all the jobs I've had, all the studies I have done. All of that is the life I've created. None of that has anything to do with who I am in my own being sitting in this chair. And when we can recognize that I created that life, I am so much more powerful than that life, which is why I had the ability to create it. I also have the ability to change it. So I am so much more than the life I've created. And many people lose that distinction. They start to begin to believe that they are the life they lived, that if you attack the life I've created, you're attacking me, when one has really nothing to do with the other. People can judge the life you've created without really judging you at all, questioning why you made those decisions, but that's very different. But the difference, as you're talking, is that we need to have that sense of purpose. We need to have that sense of self. It gives us the inner strength to be the leaders we're called to be. That is very different from an ego that says, do you know who I am? Do you know how important I am? Do you know all of the things I've done with my life? That's an ego, and that's always a defense. People go to that defensive place when they don't know who they really are. Because when we can own who we are, we have no need to flaunt our successes. They are simply a part of our journey. They don't reflect who we have chosen to be in integrity, in presence, in authenticity. They just happen to be the successes I've had as I've worked more and more to become who I was meant to be on this earth. So there's a huge difference between an unhealthy ego and a solid ego of confidence that is about an acceptance of who I am with all of my strengths and all of my limitations.
Dr. Dorothy, many spiritual traditions speak of a dark night of the soul. Can you
Mhm.
describe a leadership challenge that felt like a spiritual crisis and how you navigated it?
I would say for me, the darkest night of my soul was I had a school that I founded, an Institute of Healing Arts and Sciences. I'm a pioneer here in integrative health. I created a method of energy medicine. And for 19 years, I had a 2 year program and a 4 year program in energy medicine, a method of energy medicine that I created. And I had thousands of people, doctors, nurses, physical therapists, occupational therapists, massage therapists, and lay people who wanted to be healers go through my school. And after 19 years, it was so clear to me that the population in America had changed so dramatically that people no longer wanted to become healers. They just wanted to be technicians in the world of energy medicine so that they could receive insurance coverage. And for me, if you're to be a healer, you need to have gone through your own healing process. You needed to have gone through the shamanic journey of becoming the healer you're called to be. And when they refused to do that, I no longer chose to teach. So I closed my school. And for me, the dark night of the soul was, who was I if I wasn't a teacher? Who was I if I didn't have my school? Because I had 63 positions on my payroll. I had part-time people, 1099s. I had full-time number of full-time employees, receptionist. I had a nonprofit that was affiliated with my school. I had numerous businesses that were going. And so when I closed the school, I closed the nonprofit, I closed many other things. And the dark night of the soul was, who am I if I'm not doing what I've been doing for the last 19 years? I got lost, which is why I have the wisdom on this side to understand that who am I when I'm not doing what I did all those years? Who am I if I'm not the guru, the spiritual leader of all of these people? And it was a very, very difficult process for me that took a few years to come out on the other side with an awareness that being called as a healer, being called as a therapist, a psychotherapist, being called as somebody who understands the emotional and the spiritual journey we're walking, that I could take those gifts and simply use them in another format. I may no longer do it in the context of a healing school, but I could do it in many other ways. And I've now chosen to open up another institute in 2026, teaching those in the leadership world how to understand the essence of the people they work with, not just their leadership style, but to understand who they are, to teach them how to really see the heart and the soul of the people they work with so that they can come together at one united vision. And a company will succeed most if everybody working for it has the same vision versus our people just putting the time in. So it really brings back the importance of knowing our spiritual purpose, people finding a job in that place that feeds their spiritual purpose, that allows them to live it and grow in their purpose so that they are more and more becoming who they are meant to be, doing what they're meant to do on this planet at this time. So it took me a long while to find out who am I, not being who I had always been, and how do I become who it is I'm now called to be, based on my experiences, my personal growth, and my professional growth from doing what I used to do. How do I bring that into my present and into my future as I continue to grow more and more in my own spiritual calling and making this world a better place, in my own spiritual calling and becoming more and more of who I'm meant to be?
If a leadership is a spiritual practice, then the
Mhm.
leader is a kind of steward, not an owner. What are we ultimately stewarding, and to whom or what are we ultimately accountable? Dr. Dorothy.
For starters, we're accountable to ourselves. I believe in a higher being, a higher, whether that's God, the universe, everybody's faith system can be what it is. I happen to see it as God, but it doesn't matter what your belief is. There's something much bigger than us out there. And to me, the accountability is, have I truly lived up to my full potential? I believe we each come in here with a spiritual purpose for ourselves and becoming who we're meant to be. And we each come out with a spiritual purpose in making this world a better place. And there are times when we get lost and we just sit back and we just exist rather than really living this life, we're surviving it. And when we go into survival mode of really getting through the day, I think we're betraying ourselves because we have so much more passion and vibrancy in us, we can lose touch with it. But I think we have a responsibility to take a break when we need to. There are different times in our lives when we need to stop and catch up with ourselves. We need to stop and replenish and strengthen ourselves again, whether that's after an illness or a loss, grief, whatever it may be. We need time to just stop. But after we do that and get replenished, it's time to go back out again and help make this world a better place. And I think we're really accountable to ourselves first, then accountable to whoever or whatever that is that has given us the energy and the life force to help make this world a better place.
A better place to live for sure. So, on the inner life of the leader, Dr. Dorothy, what does your personal inner work or spiritual discipline look like to ensure you are leading from a place of centeredness and
Mhm.
not from ego, fear, or reactivity?
For me, what I do is I meditate every morning. I meditate in the evening, and some nights I wake up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, and go back to bed. And I may lay in meditation until I fall asleep again. You know, looking at my purpose, have I lived today? Have I lived my purpose today? Am I ready in the morning? Am I ready to live my purpose? I look at my appointment books and what am I doing today? What clients am I seeing? What meetings am I in? What podcasts am I doing? And what's the message I want to get across to each of these individuals? And to at the meeting, what's the purpose of this meeting? What do I want to achieve there? So there really is reflection and how can I best live my purpose in each of these interactions of the day. And in the evening, I reflect on, was I fully present in the day when I was at these meetings or with these people? Was I fully present, or was I distracted and half there and half caught up in my own imagination? Because that's a method of self betrayal. And what do I need to do in order to develop the practice of being far more present in what I'm doing? So it's periods of reflection and meditation, and really coming at peace, remembering that I exist apart from all of this. I am not the work I do. I am so much more than that. And keeping that in mind, that I need to remember that my purpose in life is so much bigger than the present, but I have to be present in the present in order to prepare for whatever it is I'm called to do in the future.
How do you cultivate the spiritual capacity to hold space for the pain, frustration, and anxiety for those you lead without being consumed by it?
What I have learned to do is recognize that every single one of us has our own unique spiritual journey. That for every person who has ever worked with me, every employee I have ever had, every friend, every family member, that they are each walking their own spiritual journey. That because I am in their life, I'm here to support them living it with the greatest authenticity. And when they ask for my assistance, whether it's my interpretation of something they're doing, my reflection on who they are, my support in helping them see something from a different way, I'm here to support them in doing that. Yet this is their journey. They are responsible for it. I'm not. My responsibility is solely to help, if I can, make their journey a little easier, share the wisdom I've learned in my years. If they can learn it in half the time by listening, I want to support them in learning the life lessons that may have taken me 50, 60 years to get. If I can help them get it in 20, 30, what a gift I've given them and what a gift they've given me in allowing me to share my wisdom with them. So I don't take on the burden of other people's choices. If they ask me what they should do about a particular situation and I give advice, that's the best I can do. It's now up to them to follow that advice, do it differently, which may be better for them, or do it in a way in which they self sabotage themselves. And however they choose to do it, I don't take that on. It's the decision they made, a particular way they needed to learn their life lesson. Some of us learn our life lessons very easily. Some of us learn our life lessons by hitting a wall all the time. We have to do it, we have to learn the hardest way possible. And if somebody in my life needs to learn their life lessons the hardest way possible, the most lovingly thing I can do is let them do it that way until they decide they want to start learning their life lessons in a much easier way. It does not need to be anywhere near as difficult as most people make it, but they've got the right to do it that way. And I step back and give them permission to do it any way they choose to do it.
Interesting, Dr. Dorothy. And what are your short term and long term goals as an author or as a leader or as an entrepreneur?
My short-term goals is I'm looking at 2 or 3 people. I'm researching them. I'm looking at their background. I'm looking at what they're doing. 2 or 3 people I would like to take on as private clients. And my long-term goal in 2026, I intend to open up an institute to train advisors, leaders, and coaches and how to see the heart and the soul of the people they work with, how to truly understand each of the individuals they're working with, how to see their defenses, how to see their wounds, how to see the masks they wear, but also how to see all that in themselves. Because unless we understand our own wounds, our own defenses, our own masks, our own stories that we tell ourselves, it's really difficult to understand others and the masks and the stories and the defenses they carry within themselves. So I want to help support the development of all of those in leadership in whatever form, and so that they can help support the people they are working with. And that's my legacy, really, of helping make this world a better place, even after I'm gone. If that institute is still running, there are people helping others continuously to learn, to have compassion and heart and understanding everybody else's journey while they understand their own, and teaching leaders how to truly lead effectively, not how to be a boss, but how to be a leader. It's a dramatically different thing.
Not a boss, but a leader. And thank you for that legacy that you are doing, Dr. Dorothy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success. And
Thank you.
what what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Oh, God bless us. Hopefully, there's so much more. What I would
Yeah.
suggest is that they truly take the time to recognize the intrinsic value and holiness of each one of them. That every one of us has so much intrinsic value, so much intrinsic holiness and goodness. And we are all called here to grow in becoming the best of who we are meant to be, and all called to make this world a better place. If they could recognize that and own that, life becomes an adventure of evolution. It becomes an adventure and always becoming more and more of who we're meant to be. To me, that makes life an exciting adventure. It makes it a passionate adventure. And it's one of continuously growing and exploring the journey. It's so much better than believing I need to know everything already, that I need to be everything already, that I need to be perfect. No one on this planet is perfect. No one on this planet knows everything. No one on this planet can do any of this alone. We all need to walk in unison with others, but always claiming everything we are and everything we bring to the table. And self reflection is what allows us to see the best of who we are and what it is we have to bring to the table. And a healthy ego owns all of that, owns our strengths, owns our abilities, but also owns our humanity and the limitations and fears we carry. If all of the listeners could recognize that within themselves, they wouldn't be comparing themselves to others because we're all walking this journey together. Not one of us is any better or worse than the other. We all just live at different levels of awareness. So, simply by becoming more aware, we become more confident, more conscious of that I am that defines us for us. And that's what we bring to all of our relationships and to our work on the planet.
Thank you for that advice, Dr. Dorothy. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
One of the books you would ask me to come up with one of the books I have here is Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Mace. It
Mm-hmm.
really talks about when we came into this journey, when we were born, we came in with that spiritual purpose. We came in with a sacred contract of who we were going to become and how we were going to make this world a better place. And my belief is every one of us is called to be a leader. Every one of us, whether we are leading our home, leading our own businesses, leading our town, our state, our country, it doesn't matter. We are all called to be leaders on a bigger scale or a smaller footprint. And understanding the sacred contract allows us to recognize really the grandness of the mission every one of us is carrying on this planet.
Well, thank you for that recommended book, Dr. Dorothy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, this path can be isolating. Where do you find your own community of support and spiritual nourishment that allows you to keep pouring into others?
Oh, I think we're all required to do that. I think every one of us is required to find that community. And it's a pass fail. We keep moving, we keep learning, we keep bringing in somebody we may think, and they matched us when we were at this level. But as we grow to this level, and the people that matched us down there don't no longer match us up here. So we're going to see some of them are going to grow in alignment with us, and some of them won't. So every time we grow a little bit more, we find we lose friends, but we gain new ones. And then as we outgrow this and we go even higher, we realize some of these people are going to grow with us and we're going to lose some and pick up others that are vibrating at that level. And that continues to be the pattern. And we have to be comfortable with that, that we are all walking a different journey here, not better, not worse, just a different journey. And some people come into our life for a while and some come in for our life for life. And either one is a gift to us.
Definitely. A gift to us. And Dr. Dorothy, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101, our fourth season, science 101, sex 101 second season, and my baby podcast law 101, mental health 101, and Bible verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Dr. Dorothy, having a frame leadership this way, what is one piece of guidance you would give to a weary leader who feels their sense of calling has been buried under the weight of pressures and politics?
What two things that can really weigh us down if we allow it to. It is stepping aside and recognizing that we our leadership is not meant to be a burden, it's a gift. And politics is always going to exist in every institution. Politics exists in every company, it exists in every city, it exists in every country, it exists throughout the world. Politics is politics. We, if we're called to politics, get involved. If we're not, don't play that game. Be as authentic, be as present as you can. And when you've been burdened and weighed down, those are the people I work with. If they're able, have them call me and I would more than willing to support them. If that's not the case, it's stepping aside and recognizing that we can't allow the outside world to define who we are. It may cause us to redirect our work. It may cause us to create different pathways to where we're going. But politics can never define who we are and what our value is. And the burdens we carry, we need to drop them. Life is not meant to be a burden. Leadership is not meant to be a burden. When we take it on as if we are the only one capable of leading, it becomes a huge burden. When we recognize we need a team to lead with us, we share all of the responsibility. We may be the primary responsible person, but we share the load with everybody on our team, whether it's our advisory board, our board of directors, our C suite, whatever it may be. We share the burden and we cannot do it alone. Leadership is far too powerful, far too much to try to do this alone. And we are not, and unfortunately, many leaders who are burdened believe they're the only ones who can do the job. There needs to be an awareness that we need others to help us do what we are doing. We're not meant to do any of this alone. Humans are a communal people, and we need to remember that. It's only in community that we really thrive.
Miss Dorothy or Dr. Dorothy Martin-Neville, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please
Thank
invite our
you.
listeners? Yes, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Oh, I would love it. For starters, they can go to my website, askdrdorothy.com. It's right up here, and askdrdorothy.com, or drop me an email at dorothy at askdrdorothy.com. I'd love to help in any
Yeah.
way I can.
Yes, people, let's support Dr. Dorothy because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to come, more and more empowering leaders will rise. So, Dr. Dorothy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. It's been a joy. Have a wonderful evening.
More to come, people. See you soon. Likewise, Dr. Dorothy. Likewise, and thank